old school bodybuilding clothing company. If leg day was yesterday and now you're wondering why toilets are so damn low, you are definitely old school. If you're the only athlete at your gym that knows there's a contest today and it's to see who trains the hardest, you are old school. OSBBC.com for the hardest training athletes.
I'm Dave Palumbo, founder of Species Nutrition. From my earliest bodybuilding days, I believed in only putting the best in my body. And that lives on in the Species Nutrition line of products. I put my name and reputation on every bottle of Species Nutrition products. If you want to be your absolute best, join the evolution. Welcome back to RXMuscle's Iron Road to the Olympia 2020, brought to you by Species Nutrition and Old School Clothing. I'm Dave Palumbo, and today's guest is a very successful person in the industry who went from the Classic Physique class all the way up to the 212. Jason Lowe, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
You know, a lot of people talk about the George Peterson jump, the Keone Pearson jump. Well, I think the Jason Lowe jump was also just as successful. You're going to the Olympia this year. You had a couple of controversial placings. You were second in New York at the New York Pro. I thought you should have won Chicago, to be honest with you. And you're just always right there. And I think a lot of people were very impressed with the changes you made to physique from going from Classic into the 212 division.
I appreciate that a lot. Yeah, I started at the Tampa Pro when I switched over to the 212, and I was a little off there. And after that, I told Aceto, look, I don't care what I end up weighing for New York. Just bring me in as healed as possible.
Right.
And that was the game plan. We came in. I was shocked, actually, how light I got for the New York Pro, but I think it was the best look that I've ever had. And, it paid off, second place. And it was a very close battle with Bo Lewis.
You were a sleeper guy. You were a guy who no one saw coming into the pro ranks. You were a sleeper guy in the pro ranks of the Classic, and you were phenomenal there, and you shocked a lot of people because you brought conditioning to the stage. And I think conditioning is something people kind of underestimate. When you're peeled out of your mind, and you bring in, a decent amount of muscle, you become a very dangerous guy on stage. And I think people forget that conditioning wins shows nowadays. And it always has. And that's something that you've always been able to capitalize on.
That was the thing with New York Pro. Whenever I showed up after the Tampa Pro, because, Bo Lewis did the Tampa as well. Yeah. There were several other guys that did Tampa that showed up to New York. And everyone backstage was like, dude, what did you do? You look like you're 10 pounds bigger. And I was about 6 pounds lighter than I was in Tampa.
Right.
But, that conditioning makes you look so much bigger.
Did you think when you switched from Classic to 212 that you had to come in bigger and at that Tampa show, and that maybe was a miscalculation?
I think that was kind of the mistake. When we started, we had never done a full prep for a 212 show, so Aceto kept me very full for about the first 8 weeks of prep, and then we started pushing hard the last 8 weeks, and I just don't think. We didn't really change much from Tampa to New York. I just needed more time.
Yeah. When you play second, like you said, at the New York Pro behind Bo Lewis, he could have flipped the coin, I think, and no one would have complained. You went to Tampa you went to Chicago as kind of like a little more experience to get under your belt. And that's the show that Keone Pearson showed up at to make his 212 debut and obviously won that show. I thought he was a little bit off at that show, to be honest with you. And I actually had you possibly winning that show, at least top two. You wind up fifth. I don't even really understand, how the placings are done, because I thought you were looking really dominant, especially from behind. You look a lot bigger than those guys, and I don't know why that is, but you do look a lot bigger than a lot of the other 212 guys on stage.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I went into that show extremely confident after my second place in New York, and I didn't see any way I was going to place outside of the top 3. But, you know, it is what it is. The judges saw what they saw and they made their decision. But, you know, I felt like I could have been a few places higher for sure.
I think you're one of these guys that has a lot of muscle on his body. You have good shape, obviously, or you wouldn't have been able to do Classic. But you don't have like the Mr. Olympia shape. So if you come in a millimeter off, they want to see you like peeled out of your freaking mind every single time out there to bring in all your gifts, so to speak. Whereas some of these other guys, they have like this genetic structure that's just incredible. And if they're a little off, they still squeak by. You know, do you feel that way?
And I think I was maybe like 1% less conditioned than I was in New York.
Yeah.
And the judges kind of pulled me back from that because they're like, we've seen you better.
Right, which is really not the way you're supposed to be judged. You should be judged against who's up there on stage.
Right. But, you know, I do understand it just from, like, it's a subconscious thing. They've seen you better. They want to see that again.
The amazing thing is that, you know, and I always tell people, you know, it really is, you got to be at the right place at the right time. It's amazing you placed second really in one show and qualified for the Olympia. In that 212, because it just happened to work out that everyone else kind of won a show and qualified on their own, you know?
Yeah, I only did Chicago because I thought there were a few guys that had they placed in the top 5, they would have bumped me out of the placings, but I ended up not needing to have done it, but it was a good experience.
Now, going into this Olympia, okay, you have to feel like, hey, you know what, I accomplished something. I mastered the Classic Physique class. I mastered 212. I'm going to be on the Olympia stage here. You got to feel good no matter how you place at this show.
For sure. And honestly, my goal last year, I told Aceto after the Arnold Classic last year, I'm going to do the Olympia because I'm already qualified, but that's my last Classic Physique show. Right. I can't make that weight anymore.
Yeah.
So my goal after the Olympia last year was to qualify for the Olympia this year in 212. And so, you know, goal achieved. Now the goal is to get in that top 10.
Now here's my little pitch for you. I'm gonna give you a little pitch. I know you've been working on your YouTube channel, Jason Lowe, and I think that you're a good guy to follow. And I'm gonna tell people why, because you're a hard worker, and a lot of people want to follow the most popular people out there, but sometimes they don't even know what they're doing, why they're successful, because they're so genetically blessed. You're like a very methodical, hard-working guy that it pushes their physique beyond what many people probably would even think capable because of how hard you work. And you chronicle all that on your YouTube channel, correct?
Yeah, I've always chronicled it on Instagram, but recently I've been trying to get out content as much as I can just to show everything I do between my nutrition, my workouts, everything I do, even if it's just getting, you know, work done with the chiropractor and grass and cupping, stuff like that. I'm trying to, you know, show everything, the whole process through my YouTube channel. Which
is great because, you know what, I just had a Buhan on the show, men's physique competitor, and he does the same thing. And, you know, he's got a great following. And he actually told me that he actually learned how to work out from watching YouTube videos. So if people are like beginners and they're trying to learn the process of what it takes to go through to become a competitor and get on stage and the therapies and all the stuff that, you know, you have to do in terms of to be a successful competitor, that's a great channel to follow, you know. And if I was just starting out, that would be something I would look for in a channel, you know. Whereas, you know, RXMuscle, we do a little of everything. We, you know, a lot of people come on here to get, you know, to see the interviews and to see, you know, the information I give about nutrition and stuff like that. But you kind of give the whole process on your channel. I think that's something that people would benefit from who are trying to learn the process themselves.
I appreciate that, and for sure, because I mean, I've been doing this for 20 years. You know, training, not competing, but training, and I still watch, you know, John Meadows' channel or, you know, whoever that does, you know, hypertrophy coach, you know, so I still watch those just because even if I see something I've seen a million times, I might see one new thing that, oh, that's a really good idea. You're constantly learning, you know? Yeah,
you know, and sometimes I think I'm answering the same question like for the 400th time, and I probably am, but there's always a lot of people out there who haven't seen it before. Very few people go back and watch old stuff, except for the truly neurotics like me. But so you have to constantly keep, reteaching people. And it's good for repetitiveness because you could hear something 10 times and it might be the 11th time you hear it that it actually clicks in your head and you actually learn it.
For sure, yeah.
I'm a slow learner, it has to be beaten into my head. And once I know it though, I own it. But some people pick things up quickly, some people don't pick things up quickly. And so there's nothing wrong with hearing the same thing over and over again if it kind of reinforces the concept in your mind.
Yeah, no, for sure. I completely agree.
Where would you be happy placing at the Olympia? Like, I know you like to set goals for yourself.
I mean, the goal is definitely to be in the top 10.
Okay.
It's a stacked lineup. I mean, You've seen the lineup. It's ridiculous. So, I mean, every show I'm training to win. If you're not training to win, then I don't know what you're doing.
Right.
But at the same time, I think you need to be realistic. And realistically, I think I can be in the top 10,
I think you can go higher than that. I think that a lot of people don't realize that, when you see the list of names and you kind of rank people, that's great on paper. But realistically, that the guys that are on that top 10 list, probably half of them, if not more, won't be in the best shape of their life. They'll screw up somehow. They'll have something off. They'll get sick. They'll get food poisoning. They'll be too dehydrated. Things go wrong.
I do have the advantage of living an hour from Orlando.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Yeah.
I can cook all my food here at home.
Yeah.
I can drive to Orlando.
Yep.
I don't have to fly. So yeah, I do definitely have that advantage going for me.
There's a lot of competitors though I've noticed that are in the Florida area here, so it's not and a lot of guys like Kamal are staying in Florida, so they
you got Kamal down there.
Florida into their home turf advantage.
You got Derek Lunsford in Tampa.
Right.
Yeah, so I mean,
that's really
a lot of people have that same advantage, but there's a lot of people that don't, and a lot of people, even some coming from other countries that look phenomenal. So, but you don't know how they're going to look the day of the show.
That's true. Well, I just want to wish you the best of luck, Jason. You've always been a supporter of our channel, and we'd love to give you props and help you promote you whenever we can. Best of luck with you and Chris. I know Chris will be there. What is he getting there Monday?
Yeah, he's getting here early. Since I live in Daytona, I'm probably not driving over till Wednesday morning.
Oh boy.
Okay. But he'll be down here early, and we check in every single day, anyways, and. He's pushing me hard right now, but 10 days, I told him I can eat tuna, fish, and egg whites every meal if he wants.
You're right.
Whatever it takes.
The great thing about cell phones now is you can pretty much communicate. You'll probably talk to him more on the not being there than if you were actually there in person. So.
Oh yeah, once he gets there, he's probably gonna be busy as can be with other clients popping in all the time too. So, yeah.
Best of luck at the Olympia. Have a safe drive. And hopefully we'll see you in that top 10.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
And that's going to take us to the end of another episode of RXMuscle's Iron Road to the Olympia 2020, brought to you by Species Nutrition and Old School Clothing. I'm Dave Palumbo for Jason Lowe. We'll see you next time.